Hey guys, Pro1701 here, and today we're going to be talking about 5 Matt Smith episodes that I find very rewatchable, that have a strong rewatchability for me. And we're going to start off the list with The 11th Hour, his first story. This is my favorite Matt Smith episode, and this is what I think is objectively the best post-regeneration episode. I think this one is really good. I love that unlike the 10th Doctor, the 11th Doctor hits the ground running right from the go. From the moment you see his head pop out of the TARDIS, he is just so much fun, especially in this story. Just watching him get along with Amelia. I love the whole scene when she's cooking him the food. And you're Scottish, fry something. Are you trying to poison me? I love his bit with the bread. And stay. I love all of that. That is so much fun. And then him, promising to come back. And do I look like people? And then when he pops back out, he's still... I like how he's still trying to warn her. He doesn't realize he's traveled into the future more than he has. And when he first wakes up and he's talking to her like, cricket bat. I'm getting cricket bat. That whole bit when he's chained up to the thing talking with Amelia. You're a police officer. I'm a kissing ground. I like that. Don't go in that door. Don't open that door. Don't walk through that door. Do I have a face nobody... Is that what I have? A face that nobody trusts? I love all of that. That whole bit there. Yeah, I love watching him get acquainted with Amelia. You hit me with a cricket bat. 12 years, a cricket bat. I love all of that. This is a very confident Doctor. Throughout this whole episode, this Doctor is full of confidence. And I've mentioned before, that's a big thing for me. To me, the Doctor is a confident person who is in control of the situation. Even if he's the one held at gunpoint, he's in control of the situation. And he's in control all the time here. Even when he's promising Amy he can do it. He's like, 20 minutes, medium ship, yeah, 20 minutes. We've got 20 minutes. And then that part when he's talking to Amy, I can do it. 20 minutes. All of that. Confidence. I love everything going on in this story. I love when he grabs Jeff's computer and he looks it up and he's like, get a room, Jeff. Right here, I'm going to leave you with my assistant, my right-hand man. Okay, Jeff, you're my right-hand man. And he goes off to do other stuff. It's just, Matt Smith is such a bundle of energy, just in general, but especially in this episode. I love the fact we get to watch him run around in what's left of Tennant's outfit, although I still want to know what happened to the jacket. It's so much fun. And I really like the fact that him meeting Amelia as a little girl and her kind of being, the Doctor being kind of her imaginary friend growing up after that, already establishes why there's a strong bond between them, especially on the companion end, without having to build toward that. It does a good job of having that kind of pre-established from the first episode. That's a really very ingenious way to do that. And then, of course, I love at the end when he calls the alien species back. Oh, this is a level 5 planet. You were going to burn it. You lot. Back here. Now. Confidence. They were leaving. Leaving is good. Never coming back is better. And that whole conversation with the Atraxi at the end. Oh, my God. Hello there. The Doctor will see you now. All of that. That speech about, is this world protected? Oh, because you're not the first lot to have come here. Oh, there have been so many. And the question you have to ask yourself, what happened to them? And then, of course, that montage of not only previous enemies, including some classic footage, but of it showing all of the previous Doctors. Yes, my nostalgia factor was going, I'm seeing classic Doctors. Although the shot they did of Tom Baker could have been better. That close-up of Tom Baker, I wish they'd done a better picture of Tom Baker. But I guess they didn't want to risk upstaging Matt Smith in his first episode, so I understand. And that bit when he steps through saying the bit about, hello, I'm the Doctor, basically run, which is one of my favorite things I've ever heard in a Doctor Who episode, that hello, I'm the Doctor, basically run. I love that. The confidence behind saying that. And I love the fact that when he says it, they leave. That's the Doctor. I don't know what we've got going on in Doctor Who right now, but that is the Doctor. That's what the Doctor does. I loved it. I'm always fired up when I rewatch this one. I just absolutely love that they leave. And he really does by the end of his first episode. I'm like, that's the Doctor. That much like how in Robot, by the end of Robot, I'm like, that's the Doctor. By the end of the 11th hour, even the first time I watched it, I'm like, that's the Doctor. Yep. I like Tennant a lot, but that's the Doctor. So yeah, it's it does a good job of establishing him as the Doctor, while also just being a really fun and great story. Next on the list is Day of the Doctor, which I guess is kind of cheating because it is a big event. But I like Day of the Doctor. I find it very rewatchable. It's nice having Tennant back. I love how well Tennant and Smith get along, because you get the impression they would get along, so I like that they get along. I love their first conversation when they're meeting, and they're, oh yeah, the glasses, and when they're doing the little bit with the Sonic, all of that. I just love that they get along as well as they do. I love John Hurt as the War Doctor, because he's such a good War Doctor. That war-weary, been through it all, just sick of it all, war, And the fact the other two are just, what are you doing here? And they point, what's with the pointing? They're not weapons, they're scientific instruments. Oh, the pointing again. What are you going to do, assemble a cabinet at them? Which makes sense when you think about it. I just love all of that. And, just like everything, I like how they brought Billie Piper back without compromising Rose's story. That's really good. I like the character of Osgood, especially in this story. I love she's wearing Tom Baker's scarf. It's a neat story. It's nice to bring the Zygons back, because they have always been a one-off villain before this, and Terror of the Zygons is such a memorable story. So it's nice to see them come back. They're incorporated well. I like that the Daleks aren't overused here while still being a part of the story, since this is based on the Time War. I really like the guy playing the General, the Time Lord General. I was glad we got him back in Hellbent. I don't like Hellbent, but I'm glad we got him back in Hellbent. And then, of course, finding out everything with Queen Elizabeth I and why she's so mad at Tennant and Shakespearean Code. That's very humorous. I like that. Gotcha! You're a Zygon. What's that? It's a machine that goes ding. I love all of that. Tennant gets some really good lines in this. It does some nice fan servicey stuff, going back to the old school where Ian and Barbara taught. Showing that nice picture of the Brigadier. There's all sorts of little fun Easter eggs in there that's really, really nice that I enjoy. And of course, when they're saving Gallifrey and all of the Doctors show up, yes, that's probably one of my favorite moments in Doctor Who. Seeing, them incorporating the classic footage to make it look like all of the Doctors are there working in the TARDIS. That nice little sneak peek at Capaldi was really nice and unexpected. And of course, the cameo at the end when he meets the Curator is one of my favorite moments in all of Doctor Who. As soon as I heard that voice, that I really think you might, I knew. I was watching it with a friend of mine on the original simulcast when they broadcasted across the world everywhere at the same time. I was watching it with a friend of mine, and I got all excited. Oh my god, I was so fired up. So that was such a beautiful moment to me, and I find the story very rewatchable. It does lag in places a little bit, and there's a couple parts I'm like, I could fast forward through this, but overall, I find it very rewatchable. Next on the list is Victory of the Daleks. Now, I'm not going to go into a big detail on this one because I've talked a lot about Victory before. The first time I watched it, I did think it was a very, okay story, but the more times I rewatch it, the more I tend to like it. It has a lot of stuff I like in it. I like the guy playing Churchill a lot. He's really good in the role. I love that him and the Doctor have this buddy relationship. They seem like old pals, and I love that. The Doctor, Churchill is not at all surprised that the Doctor can change his face. And I love that. He's just, you changed your face again. Oh, okay. I love the fact that that's just an old hat to him. The Doctor being able to change his appearance, just an old hat to Churchill. That they're good buddies. You could see them going out to a pub and getting a pint together, which is a British way of saying that. Here in America, we say go out to the bar and get a drink together, or a beer together. I'm trying to work toward you guys here. But I love the fact that they just seem really chummy and they're really good friends. And I would love to see another story with them in it together. Just another story that's like them having this kind of buddy-buddy thing going on, doing an adventure together during World War II, or before World War II, or after World War II. I want to see another story with the Doctor and Churchill together again. That would be great. I like the actor who plays the scientist that supposedly creates the Ironsides. I think he does a really good job. I love that the Daleks win. I've talked about that before. I love the fact that the Daleks do trick the Doctor and in doing so achieve their objective that they were trying to do, and basically recreate the Dalek race, the real Dalek race as they consider it. I'm glad to see that. I like to see the Daleks win, because the Daleks never really get to win because they're the Daleks, but I like to see them kind of achieve a victory right here. It's a nice change of pace. I like the Paradigm Daleks. I didn't used to, but they've grown on me. I like the fact that having the different colored ones, you can kind of tell who's what and who's in charge of what. I kind of like that. I like their deeper voice as well. I like the scene when Matt Smith gets angry at the one Dalek and just starts beating on it. I love that. This is still so early in his run, and I like that he has this kind of almost Colin Baker temper that he had early in his run. We see it in Beast Below as well. And he's just banging on that thing. I love that. I enjoy that scene. I really like it. I think it's kind of an inferior version of Power, but I think it's a fun watch. I like going back to it. Really, my only quibble with it, for the most part, is the World War II planes in space. That's just silly and ridiculous. My mind just, even for a show like Doctor Who, my mind just goes, no, that's silly. That doesn't work. It turns off with the World War II planes in space. It's just dumb. But the rest of the story I enjoy. Number 4 is the Bells of St. John. I think this one's fun. I like it. I like fun stories. It's the same reason I like Horns of Nymon. It's objectively bad, but it's fun. It's silly fun. And I like the Bells of St. John. One, I just like Matt and Clara together. Like, I complain a lot about Clara, but it's Capaldi Clara I don't like, for the most part. I love Matt with Clara. I think they're great. One, Matt and Jenna just have really good chemistry together, and I love the chemistry between Eleven and Clara. I like watching him try to figure her out while they still get along. They have this flirty nature that I actually like. I tend not to like I tend not to like the Doctor in romantic relationships. Like, River and Eleven's kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about that. But I don't really like Rose with 10. 13 with Yaz, I don't really care for. But I like this little flirty relationship that Eleven and Clara have. Because it's almost like, it doesn't even seem like it'll lead to a relationship. It seems like the end game would be like a friends with benefits thing with them. And I'd be cool with that. I don't know why, but I'd be cool with that. I just love some of the interactions they have. When he's like, yeah, isn't that what y'all do? Y'all do dancing? And she's like, what, dance with you? Down, boy? And he's like, no. I love those little moments. They do have some really fun moments. I really enjoyed how they interacted in Asylum of the Daleks as well. That version of Clara and him, I thought, interacted really well together. And so did the version from the Snowmen. I really like Clara with Matt, and really wish Matt would have stayed another season, because one, I like Matt too. I just love them together. Yeah, I like that. I love them riding on the motorbike. I love the incidental music when they're on the motorbike. That little ba 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 ba. It's really short, but I have the soundtrack to Series 7, and I really like that little piece of music. It's just, I don't know why, I just like it. And then it's cool having the Great Intelligence back. It's nice to see a classic Who villain coming back. I know we just saw him in the Snowman, but it's nice to see him back, saying it's already kind of setting things up for the series finale. And then I like that part when he's talking to her and he's like, did you not even hear the part when I said anti-grav? That's fun. The interesting thing about something living in the internet is a neat concept. I don't think that's utilized as well as it could have been, because I think you really could have done a horror aspect with that and pulled that off better. It doesn't quite commit to that. I think that could have been done better. But it's still a neat concept. And then I like how he catches the one lady kind of running things at the end because he hijacked the robot disguised as him, and you couldn't tell because he had the helmet on. I didn't see that coming, so when it actually happened, I was like, clever. Like that. It's like, you hack people, I hack machinery, and you just see the head start to turn, and I'm like, yes. So I really enjoyed that episode. The acting performances really sell it for me, even if the idea isn't executed perfectly. And then last on the list is one I haven't actually watched in a while, but I used to go back to a lot, and that's Vampires in Venice. I do like Vampires in Venice a lot. It's been a while since I watched it, but last decade I did watch it quite a bit there during Matt's run. One, I just like Matt and Rory, the kind of interesting thing they have, the little fun dynamic they have going on, the little bro buddy thing they kind of have going on. I like at the beginning because I think that's the one where he burst out of the cake at the beginning. I'm trying to remember. I think that's the one where he burst out of the cake at the beginning. He's like, your fiance kissed me last night. And he's like, no, it's okay. She's a great kisser. You ever had something that just sounds better in your head? That's funny. I like the part when they're talking about the UV lights and Rory's got the little, and you got to have this UV light, and Matt just pulls out the big one. And the way he does it, it's almost slapstickish when he just, that's funny. And then the little exchange of, yours is bigger. Let's not go there. I thought that was hilarious. Maybe a little out of place for Doctor Who, but I was amused by it. And then I love Matt's sense of wonder when he's not seeing him in the reflection, and he's just like, how are y'all doing that? He's in complete imminent danger, but he's still just blown away by the wonder of it all. The sense of not knowing, of seeing something new. Just he's like a kid in a candy store. It's a lot like Tennant in Tooth and Claw when he sees the werewolf. Even though he's in great danger, he's like, you are beautiful. And Rose has to be like, no, come on. I absolutely love that. That here he's just so childlike. How are y'all doing that? And of course that line right afterwards where, tell me the whole plan. And they just hiss at him. And he's like, one day that'll work. So it has these humorous moments in it. It really does. But then of course it has the serious stuff, like when the Doctor gets on to Amy about, go back to the TARDIS. I'm in charge. You know, he puts his foot down. I love the conversation between him and the female villain when they're taking turns asking each other questions that they have to answer truthfully. You know, where are you from? Gallifrey. You belong in a museum or a mausoleum. So she's aware of the Time Lords and how rare it is to see one. I really love that exchange. There's a mutual respect for each other there that I like. It's like, you know, even though they're enemies, they have this mutual respect for each other that I really enjoy. A lot like the Third Doctor and Delgado's Master have for each other, even when they're enemies. You see that mutual respect there, which I really enjoy. The actress playing the main female villain there is great. I really like her. I think she passed away a year or two ago, but I really like her. She's so good in this role. That by the end of the story, you feel bad for her because you understand why she's doing what she's doing. I mean, you don't agree with it, but you can understand why, because her home planet's gone. She's trying to save her people, and that's just the only alternative she can come up with. So you can kind of, you know, she's kind of this grayish character, and a lot of that is the acting performance just sells it really, really well, to where her death is tragic. I actually feel bad for her when she dies. The son's performance is fine. I do like that exchange with him and Rory when they get into that fight at one point. For some reason, I still find that scene funny. So there's some serious stuff going on when you see the dad who's trying to rescue his daughter, and the daughter ends up dying. Her death is very terrifying. I felt really bad for her. And then I like how the dad goes out like a boss. He goes out like a boss when he just blows up the whole thing, blowing up the other vampires. And then I love that. They're vampires. No, they're not. Space fish. I love that they're like space fish. Man, what can they be that's so terrifying they want people to think they're vampires? I want to know the pitch for that idea. Hey, I got a great idea for a Doctor Who story. What's that? Vampires. Okay. But they're actually space fish. Sold! Because Doctor Who is a show you can pull that off. Hey, if you can pull off Horns of Nimon and make it entertaining, which it is, you can do space fish disguised as vampires and make that entertaining, which it is. It has the comedy parts that I like. It has the serious parts that I like. It has great acting performances pretty much all around. And it looks like a really good period piece. I like that. So I like Vampires in Venice. I need to rewatch it again sometime soon. So those are 5 stories from Matt Smith's era that I think have a high rewatchability. I would like to know what you think of these stories, and 5 stories from his era that you think have a high rewatchability. So comment down below. I always enjoy hearing from you guys. Other things to do, click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications so you never miss out on another video. I would like to thank 2 of my top tier patrons, the 5th Doctor and Stephen Crane. I really appreciate their support, and I want to say thank you to all of my patrons and all of my subscribers and all of my viewers. Right now on the Patreon, let's see, all sorts of things you can get access to, polls, voting on stories that I will be reviewing exclusively on Patreons, polls, voting on stories I will be reviewing on the channel. I just ranked the Masters from worst to best recently, and that is available, I believe, from my $10 tier and up. If you would like to know how I would rank them, the TV Masters from worst to best, that is on there. I do outtakes, bloopers, I show off some of my collection, and then just other random things. If that's anything that interests you, there's a link to that in the description below. Check that out. If not, I just really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. So most importantly, thank you for watching.